It's fine to put this on YouTube, social media, my site, all the rest.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
it is.
great. So how have you been?
I'm good.
Good.
Actually, the fear of being alone isn't any different,
Okay.
but there's other changes.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, which, like you said, I need to work on my self-esteem more than that. That's like where it lies, basically. Self-worth. Um, we did go to shul on Shabbat. We went on Friday night to a reform temple. That's what was available to us, and we had been there before years ago, just once, I think. And it was very nice, and we felt very welcome. But then after, and I'm telling you this because I actually spoke up, and that's not like me. Just leave. After, we said the prayers and the blessings, and it was lay run. They don't have a rabbi there yet. From the Bima, they all of a sudden got very political, started, interacting with the congregation, talking about gun control, and it just was getting ugly. And all of a sudden, I went from reading the prayers and almost weeping because it felt so good to be doing that again, to just wanting to cry because I'm like, we just welcomed in Shabbat. We just welcomed in, joy and peace and put aside the cares of the world. And now you're doing this on Shabbat. And in the past, I would have just gotten up and walked away and left and never came back. But I know that I need congregation. I know that I need a family. And I don't know that it's going to be there because over the weekend we also met with the conservatives. But I just said, can I say something? And they said, yes, absolutely. And I mean, I was weeping as I was saying it, but I said, I came here and I felt so welcome and so blessed and so happy to be here. And as we're reading the prayers, my heart is overflowing and I'm just feeling so blessed to be here. And then you guys turn it around and you turn it into a political debate here on Shabbat. And the guy that was up in front said, well, yes, but our religion, calls us to be very socially active. I said, I get that, but not on Shabbat. I'm like, we literally just said the prayers and just welcomed in Shabbat, and now it's this. I said, I'm bombarded with this all week long. And on Shabbat, I'm supposed to rest from this and put the cares of the world away. And you just brought it all back. And they were very apologetic and said, thank you for the reminder. You're right. We just take these things for granted. And, they were very, very apologetic and very kind.
Okay.
But I was just very surprised that I spoke up and
Good.
didn't just leave. Good. So for me, that was progress. So I wanted to share that with you.
Excellent.
That felt like progress for me.
That's definitely progress.
And I even joined them on Saturday night for a wine tasting that one of the congregants put on. And I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Micah Halprin.
No.
Gave a presentation on kosher wines, and that was only had one couple from the Reform, and the other couples there were all from the conservative, and then Micah is an Orthodox. And then the next day on Sunday, we went for a brunch and a presentation Micah was doing on the muddy Middle East. And so that had all of the Chabad house was, some of the people, the rabbi from the Chabad house and some of the conservative, some of the Reform were all there. And it was so, I don't know how to explain this, where the flip came, but I didn't feel out of place.
Good.
Like I didn't feel like I didn't belong there. Like I didn't feel that.
Good.
And so for me, that's huge. That's like really huge. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I thought so too.
The being able to be left alone will come as your self-esteem is built up.
I believe that. I believe that. And when you said, oh, that makes me kind of want to cry. Because I have to trust me.
Yeah,
Because it's me. I have to trust me.
exactly.
And I can say I have to trust God, which I ultimately believe, but I can't trust God until I trust me to know what that means.
Right.
So yeah, when you said that last week that we needed to work on my, my self-esteem, I'm like, that's absolutely right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that was, yeah, that's
And
what
that's amazing that you spoke up for yourself and you were accepted. You saw that you could be accepted even when you speak up for yourself.
Yes. Nobody rejected me. They were apologetic. They were like, thank you for reminding us. Because sometimes, when you do this all the time, you forget.
Right.
And so, yeah. I mean, and Leland even gave me the option to leave. He's like, do you want to go? And I'm like, no.
Excellent.
No. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I'm really glad to hear that.
Me too.
Amazing first step. Okay,
Yeah.
so having said that,
Okay.
as you close your eyes, see what were you at
You know,
last time? Okay. Okay, the self-worth out at the time was a 1.
mm-hmm.
Go ahead, take a look at it again. See what it is now.
A 3 is what popped into my mind without dissecting.
Okay. So you can do that at a 3. Imagine what you can do it at 10.
Right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a little journey today.
Okay, where are we going?
We're going back to birth. We're seeing where your self-worth started to go down.
Okay.
We're going to change it. Okay?
Okay.
So, as you close your eyes, breathe in deeply. Let out a sigh. Okay, close your eyes, breathe in deeply. Let out a sigh. One more time, breathe in deeply. Let out a sigh. And then go up to that land of the bluebells. Just feel the feeling. And then feel that force field that we built around you. Have them do that land of the bluebells. See little Jenna over there romping around happily. Can you see her there?
Mm-hmm.
Feeling good when you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything's okay there?
The only thing is that where my perspective is now from when we first started doing the Bluebell thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, it's a fun series, is that, and I don't even know what it looks like, but I would love it to be a Jewish community where she was.
You can make it a
And
Jewish community.
and Bluebell is definitely not. She's like the only Jewish person there.
You can change the nature of the community however you'd like. It's your
All right, then.
imagination.
This is true. Okay, then we'll be good.
And you can bring in Sarah and Avram over there too. Mm-hmm. They were really big on bringing in guests and making them feel at home.
Mm-hmm. I actually write about that when I'm doing my story of that.
Good. Okay. And then feel the force field. Okay. You can even feel their tent. I mean, their tent was amazing. Okay.
Okay, just so that you have an idea, so when you're doing this, you have an idea of where my thoughts go. I've actually kind of created the scenario of Sarah and Abraham being in the 60s when I was born.
Cool.
So that it fits.
Good. Okay, so in that case, your self-esteem should be way up there when you go back there.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because that's where we're going right now. Okay, So after you felt the force field, what I want you to do is imagine this big, long hallway in front of you. And on this hallway, you have doors on every side. And on each door, there's a number. And you instinctively know that each of those numbers represents a year in your life. I want you to go all the way to the beginning of that hallway to when you were born. And as you enter into that room, I want you to notice there's a control board over there too, and a big screen in front of you. And I want you to go to the control board, and I want you to look at the dial that says self-esteem, self-worth, whichever you want to call it, and see what number it's on a scale from 0 to 10, where 10 is the highest and 0 is the least.
Am I picturing it when I'm with Sarah and Abraham, or?
It's up to you. Wherever you want to take it. It's your journey. We can keep reverting back and forth so that we can bring up what you had then to be with what you have now.
Okay.
Okay, so there's parallel control boards. One control board is with Sarah and Abraham. One control board is with the biological parents. Okay?
See, now when I look at it that way, what I saw, like Sarah and Abraham on my right and biological on my left. The Sarah and Abraham was like on the 3, and this one over here was still at a 0. And yet when I'm writing about it, I'm writing and I'm as though I'm very, very loved and very wanted and cared for.
Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to go back out, even further back, and go to conception.
Yeah.
Okay, open up that door. At conception, see what's over there now on the 2 control boards.
On the conception one, it feels very high on the Sarah and Abraham. On the biological, it feels like a below 0.
Below 0. Okay, I want you to step into that little cell. One little cell over there. And see what it's feeling. What's it feeling?
I want to say like trepidation. Like it wants to come, but it's afraid to come.
Okay. Start tapping on it as you tap on yourself.
I can take these off so I can.
She feels such trepidation. I feel such trepidation.
I feel such trepidation.
All the trepidation.
All the trepidation.
She wants to come.
She wants to come.
I want to come.
I want to come.
But I'm too afraid.
But I'm too afraid.
She's too afraid.
She's too afraid.
Whatever it means.
I know what it means.
What does it mean?
She's afraid. I'm afraid because I know that my mother does not want me.
My mother doesn't want me.
Mm-hmm.
My mother doesn't want her.
Mother doesn't want her.
But God wants me.
But God wants me.
That's why God brought me.
That's why God brought me.
And Avram and Sarah want me.
Avram and Sarah want me.
That's why they brought me to be Jewish.
That's why they want me to be Jewish.
Let everything else go.
Let everything else go.
It's safe to let it go.
It's safe to let it go.
It's
time to let it go.
It's happened a long time ago. It doesn't serve me anymore. It's an old program. I just
Doesn't
let it
serve
go.
me.
I've taken on new programs, taking on new parents, taking on a new life. It's safe to keep this new life and let go over the old one. I don't need anymore. I got everything I needed from the old life. It taught me whatever I needed to learn, and now I go on my new life. Let everything else go. I'm safe. We're all safe. It's safe to be safe. It's safe to heal. Grab your wrist. Breathe in. Feel the tent of Avram and Sarah. Middle of the Bluebell land. It was interesting enough when Abraham was alive, there weren't very many Jews then.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first Jew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
does she feel now?
Better, but I can tell that it's still blending with the biological because this side is still not as strong.
So what I want you to do,
Like I'm having a hard time getting into
I want you
Sarah
to
and Abraham's tent.
I want you to go back to that little cell, and I want you to tell her, with all the knowledge, wisdom, information that you've gained throughout the years, especially since you've become Jewish, converted, especially since you've taken Abram and Sarah to be your real parents, give her all that information. Tell her it's okay. Make her believe it. Now, obviously, tell her you're from the future, and that you have the powers to change the past, and make her believe it. Is everything okay there?
Mm-hmm.
And then make sure to tell her that no matter what happens in her life, she will never, ever, 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 ever be alone. Because you're going to be right there with her, holding her, loving her, hugging her, helping her, guiding her, supporting her, showing her the path of least resistance to where she wants to get to, holding her hand to get her to where you are today, to the place you are today. We don't know why we need to go through some cathartic experiences. Only God knows that. But at the end of the day, He brought you here for a reason. And that was little Jenna. She started the journey. She started the process. If it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be here today. So just take her in your arms, hold her so tight that you bring her right into your heart where she belongs. How's she doing now?
I'm having a hard time staying in it.
Okay. What's the thing that keeps pulling you out?
Oh, just distracting thoughts of
Okay. What is she feeling over there?
confused.
Okay, confusion is good. It means that
Okay.
things are changing inside of her.
Okay.
She had one state of mind, and suddenly you're giving her all this new information, wisdom that she didn't know beforehand.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
Let her process it. She's a smart cookie.
One of the things that's happening is I'm feeling like, okay, I need to start my story over again.
It's okay.
And I don't, the reason I'm saying that is I wrote my story as though I was born to Sarah and Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's kind of making it, I will go into that, you know, I know that Sarah only had the one biological child.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's sort of I keep kind of hitting a wall where I have to like feel like I'm going around that to try to create the story.
Well, I think you have to put it like this. She went through whatever she went through to get
Mm-hmm.
you to where you are today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Why she had to go through it, I can't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say either.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that had she not gone through it, you might not be here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You'd be somebody else right now.
Right. Right.
Okay?
Right. And so what I guess what I'm saying is that it almost feels like I know that you can make up and create stories, but that's kind of how it feels that I'm
Yes.
doing, as opposed to starting from where my conversion began and saying,
But
you know what I mean? But
if you
so I don't
look
know.
at it from the point of view that she went through what she went through so that you could get to the point of conversion and do what you're doing today,
Right.
it puts it in a different light.
Right. Right.
Okay?
As opposed to like pretend that she didn't go through any of that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying.
So that's what I'm saying. I feel like, okay, I feel like I need to start this over,
I would say like
but with
this,
a different
slant to it.
perspective.
There, as you go through your journey, there are going to probably be many stories that you have to rewrite. And
Right.
at some point, you need it to be like this to get you over whatever hump you're going over. And
Right.
then when you get to the next stage, you can then change it to until you get to the point where you can accept whatever it was as was, because you're not there anymore. You're in a
Right.
much better place.
Right.
And when I look at, the Holocaust, I can't possibly understand why 6 million Jews had to be
No.
killed.
No.
Okay? But at the same time, it brought about the state of Israel. And by the way, I did not forget about bringing you the dirt. It's just that the post office in Israel are really awful, and so I'm waiting to get a package from the post office to have to go there because you don't even have postal boxes anymore on the streets.
Oh,
You can
wow.
only do
Oh,
it from the
okay.
post office.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness. Oh,
so
okay.
I have it in a Ziploc bag inside my pocketbook, so that when I get to the post office, I'll buy I need like one of those thicker envelopes that
Bubble
are
wraps.
padded. Yeah,
Yeah, bubble
so
wraps.
that in
Yeah.
case the bag happens to pop open, it's not going to people are going to say, "Oh my God, there's what's in there?
Yeah.
What's she
Yeah.
sending?"
Yeah. 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 Exactly. See, I gotta
So,
tell you, this is so funny. It's like this, and this is like a happy emotional that I'm feeling. I love when God does things to show up, like to show off that, you know,
yeah,
I am connected to you. I am listening and paying. I don't do well with the concept of a God who just isn't personal,
yeah.
who I just personally don't do well with that kind of a God.
I have a direct telephone to God. I talk to him all the time.
And I used to too. I used to too. And then I got bombarded with so many people. Oh, it's just an energy. It's just, and I just don't do well with that. But so I love when he like shows up and shows off for me. And I say that because I was taking my shower and I remembered the dirt. And I wanted to ask you about it, but then I didn't because I'm like, I can't ask her about that
Right.
because how nice of her to even say she would do it. I'm not going to ask her. And then you bring it up anyway to say something about it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And before that, before we got on here, my daughter is working for a company that is just so unethical and they treat her so terribly. And she's an ethical person. And so the things that they expect her to do, she said she feels like she's dying inside working for this company. And I mean,
That's
they
sad.
just treat her terribly. And so she called, but she feels like she has to be doing it right now because her husband's business is slow right now. And if she doesn't have this job, where's the money going to come from? And I kept feeling like I was supposed to say to her, honey, maybe this is happening to give you an opportunity to trust God.
Yeah.
And I said, because I said, and God, at least the Jewish God, doesn't call you to be in an abusive situation when you don't have to be. I'm like, maybe he's calling you to trust him.
Yeah.
That, and you stop playing God. and let him be God, let God be God. None of my kids have converted yet. But they don't live a spiritual or religious life of any kind. It's other than my son. But she's seeing me, like she's watching me do things and watching how I live and the choices and things. And my kids have always, if they needed something or something, they were afraid of something, come to Mama, pray for me, whatever it is. And I've been saying for a long time, God hears you just like he hears me, but they feel better if Mama does it. Mama, you pray for me. Don't know.
Go back to conception and look at the self-esteem dial.
It's moving up. I can feel them moving up.
Okay, why don't you reach out a hand together with little baby Jenna and see if together you can move it again more. What was that? Was it going higher than you ever thought?
No, it's kind of the opposite. Like she was like holding my hand, like she didn't know if she wanted me to turn it up or not.
Okay, ask her what's wrong, what she's afraid of.
Okay. When you said little Jenna, I had gotten up in my head again about, I legally changed my name in 2004. Jenna isn't the name that my parents gave me. And I always hated my name. Always, always, always hated my name. And I have questioned when I do these things, am I supposed to use the name they gave me or the name Jenna that I believe God chose for me? And I just recently, and I can't remember when I was doing a meditation about it, and I was just checking in and asked, talking to Jenna, talking to the little me, and how do you want me to call you by that name that they gave you? And she was like, emphatically no, like absolutely not. And so when you called me Jenna, in my mind, I was considering telling you that name and saying, do I need to do this? And it was like she was holding my hand there saying, that's not who I am.
You don't need to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
so call her
Do
Jenna.
that.
Call her Jenna
Yeah.
and then see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like she was saying to me, stop trying to do that. Like, stop trying to.
Put me back there.
I hated that name. Stop it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's funny because even on my conversion, I didn't want to have to take a Hebrew name. I loved my name so much, and I felt like God gave it to me, that I really didn't have to take a Jewish name, a Hebrew name.
Well, that's
So,
okay.
yeah, but I did, but I did, and I like the name that I chose. It's not that I don't like the name that I chose, but I mean, I just love the name, and it's sort of like she felt like, stop putting that back on me. We've had this discussion.
Okay, so call her little Jenna. I called her little Jenna.
That works, and it wasn't you; it was me.
Yeah, I
It was
understand.
like, hey, do I need to? Okay.
How's it going now?
Better. It's about a 7 to an 8, with where she's turned it on that side.
Ask her what she needs to get it to a 10.
She's afraid that if she turns it to a 10, that I'll try to stay by myself, and she's still afraid of that.
You'll try to what?
Stay by myself, and she's still afraid of that. Like, she's afraid of me pushing that.
Okay, so leave it at a 7-8 right now.
Okay.
Put a stopper over there so it can't go back down.
Okay.
And I want you to listen in the background and hear all the dials, subsequent dials, from that age, which is conception, all the way till today, how they all readjust themselves. Can you hear it?
Yeah. I feel like I need to share with you.
Yeah.
part of what the struggle is today is that yesterday marked the 5th anniversary of my stepfather dying.
Mm-hmm.
And the resulting family discord as a result of it. And it was weird because yesterday was the 5th anniversary of it. And my husband has this shirt that reminds me of him, that I told him it reminded me of him. Well, he forgot and he put it on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're wearing the Smitty shirt. So he immediately took it off and threw it in the garbage.
Good on him.
And then he had to have some testing done. So we went to the hospital, and sitting in the waiting room was this guy that lives around this town somewhere that looks so much like him that it takes my breath away when I see him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, boom, there he was. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on today? That all these things are happening. And so I've had, like, you know how Facebook gives you the memories?
Mm-hmm.
It's been showing me the memories of what was happening that year and how my family treated me and how I was feeling and things like that. So it's like all that's in my, trying to fight with what I'm trying to do today.
What's the overwhelming emotion that you're feeling as you see all those things in the background?
I still feel hurt. I still feel angry. I still feel like there was more I wish I would have said, or more that needs to be said.
Get a chance to point to where you feel it and then pull it out.
I feel like I feel it in this area.
Okay.
Like from here to here, you know what I mean? Like
That's
it's
fine.
in my head. And you
Pull
want
it
me to
out. Physically pull it out. That's right. Pull it all out.
That's weird.
What?
Because unless something's hiding, I don't feel it.
Cool.
So I'm checking. There's still a little bit there.
Pull it out. Get it out. Every last drop.
Will it come out or not if I'm... One of the things that I feel angry about is that in the obituary, they listed me as like those who are, he survived by his wife, his daughter, and his stepchildren, and then they list me and Leila. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be on that list.
With him.
I don't want any association with him at all. Like, remove my name from that list, and there's really nothing I can do about that.
Well, not anymore. You're right. But you can let it go because it's all in the past and it's done. And I bet that if you ask any of the people around, they probably won't even remember that you're listed over there.
Yeah.
You're the only one who remembers it.
Probably. It's so hard when things are out on the internet.
Yeah, I
and they're just
understand that.
there.
But even though they're there out on the internet, how many people you think are going to go look? Absolutely not.
Well, and it's not so much about them, it's me.
That's right, I understand that. But
it's like
you can just let it go because it has no meaning whatsoever.
Yeah. It is, for me, and I know that this is a trigger for me, to have somebody tell me that I need to pray for, and of course this has been a Christian, they've been Christians, you need to pray for your abuser. And
Baloney.
Yeah, exactly. But part of why that triggers me so bad is that's I hadn't spoken to my mother in months because I had tried to start having a relationship with her again before he died. And I couldn't because then I started having nightmares of being raped again. Like I had been doing better. And then the eating disorder started again. And I started having the nightmares.
Did you
And
learn the Bible?
yes.
Okay. Do you remember Saul, Shaul?
Mhm.
Why was he ousted as king?
I know this. Why am I drawing a blank? Why am I drawing a blank?
God told him to do something,
Right.
to have no mercy.
Oh, that's right. He had mercy. Right, right. That's right. He had mercy when he was told not to have mercy. Exactly. Exactly. Right.
Okay. And why was he told to not have any mercy?
I don't remember that part.
Because the king didn't deserve it. The king was a mean king.
Mean King. Right. Okay. I got to read this again. I'm going to make a note for myself so I can go back and reread it.
Who tortured the Israelites.
I have gotten, and we've actually, and that's um, one of the things that I have been really very happy about is that we have gotten back into studying again.
Cool.
Because I mean, when I went through that rebellious thing, like I didn't pick up the Torah, I didn't pick up the Tanakh, I didn't pick up the prayer, I didn't, none of it.
Right.
Like I just was, and I'm amazed at how much of the things that have slipped away from me. And
Yeah.
that's why, like I said, when we went to shul and had the prayer book in my hand and I'm reading these prayers and it's like, oh God, I've missed this, you know. And I know that some people don't need that kind of thing. I do, like
I get it.
I do,
I get it.
yeah.
But
Yeah, so she
my
had asked
point
me.
is that being told to pray for someone who was mean to you and who was not nice to you is not in the Torah.
Right, right.
Okay?
And I hadn't talked to her for months. I wasn't taking her calls. I hadn't talked to her, and then she calls me, and for some reason I picked up the phone that time, and it was to tell me he was in ICU and to ask me to pray for him. And I didn't say I would. I didn't say anything. I didn't say I'll talk to you later. I just said, I love you. Bye. And I hung up.
Mm-hmm.
I got off the phone and just began weeping because I was like, how dare you call and ask me? You know.
What he did.
And yeah. And you call me and ask me to pray for him. And so then when he called the next day and he died, and I totally look at this as a God thing. I didn't answer because I knew what she was calling to say. But then I did call her back, but she didn't answer. And I totally look at that as a God thing that she didn't answer, because had she answered, I'd have been sucked right into it all over again.
Right.
And so what? It's like, why on earth would you include me in his obituary? You know, it's like,
Okay, let's
so yeah.
leave that for a moment. We're going back, okay? We brought it up to a 7, right? With Jenna's consent, little Jenna's consent.
Right.
Step out
Right.
of there, and now look at birth.
Okay.
Go look at the self-esteem over there. What's it at?
Yeah, I can't even find it at birth.
Can't find it. Okay. Why don't you take the
She
little,
was literally angry at my birth.
why don't you take little Jen over there? And I want you to remind her about all the things you told that little cell. Telling her who you are, telling her that you're from the future, telling her what happens in the future, telling her that everything that she had to go through, unfortunately, was just to prepare the way for where you are today. Tell her how much you love her and accept her and forgive her and support her and hold her. And tell her how grateful you are that she held out and that she made it through so that you could be here where you are today. Because you couldn't have done it without her.
Okay.
And let her reach out and help you turn the dial.
She's moving it, but there's still a sense of fear because she knows it does get better, but
Well,
there's a lot she still has to go through to get to here.
have Sarah Imenu come and cheer her on too. Tell her how she's waiting for her. And she'll always wait for her no matter how long it takes her to get there. So even if she's not the biological mother, she's the adoptive mother. She's of all the children of Israel. While she would love to make the way easier, it's not in her hands to do that. That's only in God's hands. And we don't always understand the ways of God.
I can sense her feeling more hopeful with it, but I also can sense that there's still the trepidation of,
Pull out the trepidation.
like she has to absorb what we're saying to her.
Okay, let her absorb it. But you know what we didn't finish with beforehand was we pulled out all that fear, right, and anger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't want to leave the body empty. It's a vacuum.
Okay.
So
Right.
what do you want to suck in? We can either change that to be the opposite, or you can suck in something else. What do you want to suck in, or do you want to change it to the opposite and put it back in? Your choice.
I'm sorry. Change it what?
We can either take what you took out and make it be the opposite and then put it back in, or we could just take something else in. Which do you prefer?
Probably put something else in.
Okay, so what do you want to put in there?
Willingness.
Okay,
A willingness to feel loved.
and what color is that for you? Let me think about it.
Well, blue is the first thing that popped into my mind, but
Okay, and can you think of the time when you felt a willingness to be loved?
not completely.
Not completely. Can you imagine it?
I don't know what love is.
Ask Sarah to help you.
I mean, I know what love feels like to love my children.
That's love. That's fine. Do you remember holding your babies in your arms?
I know what it feels like. I remember what it feels like when Leland and I first started talking, we first met. I remember it was the first time in my life I felt like I was loving God through him and feeling God's love for me through him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
It was the first time I'd ever experienced that in my life, that kind of God-connected love.
Sounds perfect to me. Take it,
So I know that.
point to where you feel it in your body.
But then he got mean to me. So it's
Oh.
like it kind of,
Leland?
Leyland. Yeah. That it just,
Okay. Stick to that first part. Don't go to the me part. Just stick
yeah.
to the first part. Okay? Because it's
Yeah.
the love of God that you are feeling.
Yeah.
So feel that love from God. And that willingness to let yourself be loved by God. Point to where you feel it, where that place begins.
Sorry, I just feel like I gotta clarify. I mean, he did something mean. I don't mean he became mean to me. I mean,
Okay.
he said something mean and hurtful.
Well, we all do that sometimes, I think.
Right, exactly, exactly. But I just wanted to clarify that. It's like, wait a minute, that didn't sound the way I
Okay.
wanted meant it to come out.
Notice when you feel that feeling, it begins at a certain point in your body and then spreads to the rest of it. Point where you feel it.
Here,
I notice it has a color attached to it. What's the color?
I saw white.
White. What I want you to do is I want you to breathe in that white energy. Just breathe it in till it fills up that whole empty space where you took out the rest of it. And then let it continue to fill up even further, going all the way from the tip of your head down to the tip of your toes, to the tip of your fingers. Let it go between all the different cells over there. Let it go deep inside the cell. Let it be encoded directly into the DNA of each and every cell to be expressed automatically, naturally, and effortlessly whenever you need it, whenever you want it, without having to think about it. And it can be expressed as much as you want. There's no lack. Just like we express all the other proteins, all the hormones, all the enzymes in our body, so this just keeps on being expressed whenever you need it.
I'm just having a hard time doing it.
Why?
Like getting it. Like I can get it up here, but like when I try to take it the rest of,
Okay.
it's just like, it's
So
just a,
let's do this. Pull it out. Pull it all out. Every last drop. Pull it all out. Okay. Take it in your hands. With your mind's eye, notice what color it is now.
it's kind of gray.
Kind of gray. Does it feel good in your hands? No. Okay. Does it have a spin to it?
Counterclockwise.
Take it by the two sides. Make me the
Well, actually, no, it feels like it's kind of rolling into me.
rolling into me. But you're saying it doesn't feel good though, right?
Right.
Okay. So let's roll it out. Make it be the opposite of what it was in every possible way.
Okay.
Spinning it faster. Take your hands and literally spin it. And faster. And doubling the speed, doubling amplitude, doubling magnitude, doubling frequency. Keep doubling it over and over again till you can never go back to this work and get better and better ways. Now when you got it for all the right reasons, slam it right back in, shocking your system as you do. Any sensations, any feelings your body's feeling as your body's way. Restarting its neurological start point. What's going on?
It just felt a little hard to breathe when I.
Okay, your body's processing. Some of my clients yawn, some of them shiver, some of them giggle, some of them cry, some of them tear, some of them twitch. Any of those physiological reactions or any other ones you might be feeling are the normal reactions of the body. What's going on?
I keep feeling like I'm supposed to ask you
What?
if you have a book that you can recommend that is a Jewish book about the love of God for a woman and a child, or a woman,
Love of God.
or
For a woman.
like yeah.
I don't know offhand, but I know who I can ask.
Okay.
So I will ask them.
Like. Hmm.
What's the matter?
Like, I want to say, I haven't been able to find any like Jewish resources as far as God in a woman who's, been abused, or, a child who's, a child who's been abused with, sexual abuse. Well, I've tried to find them.
Because I
And
don't
what I
think
keep having stuck in my mind is the Christian books. So it's hard for me to understand what love is and feel that and understand it, because in these books they tell you to take responsibility for the abuse. They tell you that you need to ask the abuser for forgiveness for your part in it.
okay, God,
And so
the Jewish God.
I don't understand. It's like I'm forgetting how much I loved the God that I was presented with in Judaism, that didn't expect me to love the people who abused me.
The God of Judaism does not differentiate you as an abused child from any other child. If anything, he loves you all the more because you survived through it. He doesn't expect you to ask forgiveness from the abusee. He expects the abusee to pay penitence for what he did. Okay, I will ask. I have someone specific that I will ask, and when he gives me the name of a book, then I will transfer it over to you. But as I said, the God in Judaism does not hold you responsible in any way for what happened to you. That I can guarantee you.
There is something that unless you have been sexually abused and told your mother and she did nothing, the people just don't understand. Like
First of all,
this
you
is
did tell your mother and she did nothing.
right.
Okay?
She did nothing. She did nothing. She told me if it happens again to let her know and she would do something. But even before that, the truth is, she knew when I was little, when I was 3, that it was happening. Little girls don't just bleed from their vaginas for nothing. But she chose to ignore that as well. But I mean, when I was 14 and her boyfriend started, and I literally went to her and told her. And there's something that is very difficult to try to believe that you are lovable when your mom, I mean, this is the person that's supposed to love you more than anyone.
Let it happen.
That's,
Let it go.
let it go. Let it go.
Just let it go.
Let it go.
It's time to let it go.
It's time to let it go.
It's time to heal.
It's time to heal.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
It was her.
It was her.
And I had nothing I could do about it at the time.
I had nothing I could do about it at the time.
It's what I was born into.
It's what I was born into.
But now that I have something to do about it.
But now I have something I can't do about it.
And I did it.
And I did it.
I brought myself to a better place.
I brought myself to a better place.
I brought my children to a better place.
I brought my children to a better place.
Now I'm in control.
Now I'm in control.
I choose to keep my control in my hands.
I choose to keep my control in my hands.
I choose to keep my power.
I choose to keep my power.
If God didn't love me,
If God didn't love me,
He wouldn't have kept me for so long.
He wouldn't have kept me for so long.
For all the things that I had to go through.
For all the things that I had to go through.
But He did love me.
But He did love me.
And here I am today.
And here I am today.
A different person than I was then.
A different person than I was then.
Let everything else go.
Let everything else go.
It's all in the past.
It's all in the past.
The past is over.
The past is over.
Whatever it had to give me,
Whatever it had to give me,
which I don't even know,
which I don't even know.
I got it already.
I got it already.
Because I managed to get past it.
Because I managed to get past it.
I brought myself to a different place.
I brought myself to a different place.
I let go of the past.
I let go of the past.
Let it all go.
Let it all go.
I'm safe.
I'm safe.
You're all safe.
We're all safe.
Every wrist, breathe in. Blow out. Peace. Okay. God didn't keep you alive through all the things that you went through because he hated you. He kept you alive because he loved you. He kept you alive because he knew you had a purpose. He knew that you had something special to give to the world, to yourself, to your children. His love to you is there, always there.
I don't know if I shared with you or not, but one of my earliest memories right after seeing them take my dad was when I was 3, about 3.5. And I went to the babysitter's house after preschool. And the lady who was babysitting me, her son, which is my stepdad, my first stepdad, came home for lunch, and she was going to leave to go next door to visit her friend. And I was on the couch taking my nap. And I remember I started praying, God, please let him think I'm sleeping so he'll leave me alone this time. And of course that didn't happen. He didn't leave me alone. And so trusting God is very difficult. Believing he loves me is so difficult. Because at 3, I'm begging him to.
As I said, I can't explain why certain things happen.
Right.
I can't explain why the Holocaust happened. I can't explain why
Right.
6 million Jews were killed.
Right.
I only know that as a result of that, Israel was created.
Right.
And the same thing over here. I can't explain why what happened to you happened to you. The only thing that I can explain is that for whatever reason, God kept you alive throughout that, all that happened, and brought you to where you are today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like there's a reason, because I mean, there's so many times I should not have survived.
Yeah, exactly.
And yet I did.
Exactly. That's my point.
And it's not that I believe God made me go through those things so that someday I could help somebody else who went through those things. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that that's the way God works. But I do believe, on some level anyway, that God did bring me through all that. And I don't want to waste that.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to not just help other people who've gone through it, though there's that as well, but also, I mean, I know it's a grandiose concept, but also to educate people what it is.
It's not grandiose
and
at
to,
all.
and to help stop it before you have these victims. You know what I mean?
There is someone who helps, how do you say, I know him, he helps a lot of children who are sick.
Mm-hmm.
Adults who are sick. He also helps people who, women who have been abused women, battered women.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically gives them a vision. But what he also, and he takes them out of where they are and brings them to a place where they can see their future and they can look forward to their future. But aside from that, he has this theater. And this theater, what he uses it for, is for social consciousness. He puts on all these plays that have to do with social consciousness. He put on a play about women being battered by their husbands in the parliament here in Israel, and based on that play, they made a law against it. Now, you would have thought there would have been a law against it beforehand, but I guess there wasn't, because based on his play, they did make it. And then he put on a play that I saw that was talking about the problem that people who, men usually, I suppose it could be women as well, who are pedophiles. They prey on younger, teenagers, abuse them sexually, use them, and then, make them believe that they're full of and they're going to marry them and all
Right,
that.
right,
And then,
right, right,
right?
right.
And then, how do you say, so he put on a play about it to bring up social awareness about it. Okay?
Okay.
Making social awareness is an important factor, because you could help another little girl avoid having that happen to her.
Right, right, right. And I guess that's what I'm saying. And and again, I get torn between, am I supposed to do that or not supposed to do that? Because I think it's normal, in my opinion, that when you see somebody who has been abused, you feel anger. Like, I don't think as humans that we're supposed to just always feel good and great every day, all day long, that nothing is supposed to stir us except happiness. Because if that's the case, how will we ever make change? Like, how?
No, I think you're missing the point of it here. I think the point is that you go to those places and you you create the happiness.
Yeah, right. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Again, I'm having Robert flashes where basically the minute you have a feeling that's not, you tap it out. You don't talk about it. You don't do anything, and don't talk about it, because then you're focusing on it. If I bury my head in the sand, that little girl down the street could get abused.
Yeah.
So I need to bring awareness to this. And I'm sorry, but I do feel angry when I find out that this 14-year-old girl was talked into loving this 20-something-year-old man and having sex with him, and she thinks it's love. And I do have a problem with that, and so I do get passionate about it, and I do get riled up about it. But then I think, oh, am I supposed to?
Well,
is that okay?
You're supposed to get passionate up about it and then do something about it.
Right.
That's the point of getting passionate about it. Getting passionate up about it just to be passionate up about it does nothing. That's stupidity. No. But getting passionate about it to go and do something about it, change it, so that little girl won't have to suffer like you did. Right.
Right. I mean, and it's one thing to, and I think it's an important thing, and I've learned things, like from being on Facebook and reading someone's post, that I had never thought of. Like, I've seen a side of something that I never saw that side. I never thought that, and it changed my life, having read that in a positive way. So I think that social media can be used for that.
Definitely.
But then ultimately, I would love to see a law passed that if you know a child is being abused and you do nothing, that you are also charged.
You're an accomplice. Yeah.
Because if we get a law that's passed like that, you can bet people will be turned in.
Yeah.
They'll be turning people in right and left, because they're like, I ain't going to jail for you. If a parent knows that their 14-year-old daughter is dating a 20-something-year-old man and allows it, and they end up having sex, that parent needs to be charged.
Yeah, I agree.
If a law gets passed like that, more parents will say, hey, wait, I'm not going to jail, so they'll become a parent again. Yeah. they'll be that parent. And so those are the things. Those are the things that, and I almost feel like I'll speak out and then I delete it, because I'm afraid of the people's reaction.
Okay, so that will leave you as you build your self-esteem and self-confidence.
But I think that's why that little Jenna is like, I want to believe you, but you got to show me. Like, I feel like I get what we're doing, and I think that it's helping, and it's helping me to look at things and see things. But until I start doing,
tell her what she did on the Sabbath, Friday night.
Yeah, well, I think that's why it moved at all. It's because that happened, because it wasn't moving, and so I think that's what. But see, she saw me. She's like, oh, hey, maybe
do something. Maybe I can.
But then, right. But then on Saturday, I spoke out when I saw this case of. And I didn't mean to see it. My computer was up and it was on, and I'm like, oh gosh. But then it was there in my face, and it was about a man who was just sentenced for he's 20 something having sex with a 14-year-old.
Right.
And there were people on there defending it, and hey, she gave consent. Well, because she gave consent and da 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 da. And I spoke out several times, like said, and why isn't she being punished? Because she didn't break the law, for one. But anyways, I had said several things on there, but then I deleted them. And so it's sort of like, okay, I spoke up on Sabbath, and so that was great. But then on Saturday, I spoke up again. But then
But hold on, just 1 second. I don't know if this was going through your head or not, but officially you don't really use the computer on the Saturday. So maybe you deleted it because you didn't want to be seen using the computer on Saturday. But now that it's no longer Saturday, go write it in.
Yeah.
Go write it in.
Yeah.
Show little Jenna.
I mean, I did leave one thing up, but it was very generic. You know what I mean? It was just sort of, it wasn't really addressing what needed to be addressed. Yeah. But I did, right before you and I started this session today, I did actually do a post on my Facebook page, because I keep seeing it, about they're showing, there's a video going around of the shoes that they put a pair of shoes on the Capitol lawn representing all of the youth that have been killed since Sandy Hook. Mm-hmm. So that's been a little over 7 years that Sandy Hook took place. And it ends up being 7,000 pair of shoes.
Wow.
My issue has been, that's sad when you think about it. It's so sad. But my issue has been that these same people that are saying, I want gun control because our children's lives matter, are the same people who have either had themselves, or they demand a woman's right to have an abortion at any stage, no matter her condition or the child's. And in America, there are, on average, 3,000 abortions a day of healthy fetuses to healthy mothers. 3,000. So you do the math over the same amount of time from Sandy Hook to there for those shoes. That was 7,000. We're talking 147,000 babies' lives ended. Healthy babies that would have been born to healthy mothers that could have put them up for adoption. So it's like, for me, when you're demanding gun control because you say, I care about the lives of my children, or care about the lives of the children, and yet you also in the same token are one of them who demands that a woman has a right to a late-term abortion for whatever reason, I can't take you seriously. You've lost all credibility with me. You can't tell me that you love children and want to see them live, and yet demand that a woman can take the life of a fetus.
Okay,
so
hold on. You're not going to be able to change the whole world.
No, of course not.
Okay, but you can put a post and say, I respect you for your desire to keep the children safe, but what about the babies? Don't they deserve to be the fetuses? Don't they deserve to be safe too? You can write a post like that. There's nothing. The worst that will happen is someone will answer you back. Mm-hmm. What's so bad about that? So someone will answer you back. Okay?
Yeah, but see, the thing is that would be dishonest, because I guess the way you said it, because I don't believe it has anything to do with saving the lives of the children. I really don't.
What do you think it has to do with it?
I think it had. Well, for one, gun control, it doesn't work. Laws do not work. It was illegal for the guy to go in and commit murder anyway, and he did it.
You're right. You're right that gun doesn't work, but it doesn't make a difference. You can only do so much. Okay?
Right.
You can only do so much. Now, my point is that there's certain things I will not take a stand on simply because I don't want to be affiliated with it. I don't want people affiliating me with that thing, even if, let's say, I believe in it or I don't believe in it. But things that I strongly believe in, that I don't mind being affiliated with.
But I do strongly. This is something I strongly believe. This is almost as equally strong for me as the sexual abuse.
Okay,
And
so
and part of that is because of my experience with abortion.
I
That
understand,
I would
and
not have I wouldn't have even considered it if it were illegal. Like it would not have even.
so I can tell you that in Israel, on buses, they have big posters up saying abortion is not child's play. It affects the mother. Okay, we're not even talking about the fetus, but it affects the mother. There's no question about it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
The fact that a 16-year-old girl has abortion because she doesn't want the baby, when she gets to be 26 and then does want a baby, it affects her. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. And they don't tell you that.
No, they don't.
They don't
tell
do
you
that.
that.
They spent 20 minutes convincing me that what they were going to take from my body wasn't really a baby. I mean, thankfully, I can't even imagine. And see, there's another time that God intervened, but I nearly died in the process.
But he kept you alive.
I can't even imagine if I would have had it. If I would have had it, actually had the abortion, the guilt of it would have probably sent me to suicide. I probably would not have been able to survive that.
I get that.
So,
but as I said, God saved you from it.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, maybe when you might God save you about it because he knows that you're going to be an anti-abortionist and you're going to push that. But the point is that put it in the right place, okay?
Yeah.
Condoning those people saying, I can't support you because you do this, leave them alone. Put it in the place where you want to put it. Abortion is something that needs to be reconsidered because it affects the mother, not to speak about the death of all these fetuses, not to speak of that.
Right.
But even if you're just talking about the effect that it has on these poor mothers, these poor girls.
Yeah.
There's
I have done that. I have done that approach as well. I mean, I have actually even shared my own story with it.
Right.
And so I know that it affects you. I battled an eating disorder for over 20 years because of it.
I have no doubt about that. So my point is that you can't fight all the battles. You can choose the battles that are worth your fighting and then give it your all. Okay? So don't beat yourself up for the things that you didn't manage to do. Step forward and do what you can do.
Yeah.
And show little Jenna that you are capable of doing it and that you are, even if it's baby steps, even because you have to get yourself into the position where you're able to do it. You have to bring your self-esteem up over there. And it's going to go running before you know it. I can guarantee you that. You're going to lose control and you're just going to go right forward. I can tell you that from my own experience because had anyone told me that this is what I'd be doing 10 years ago, I would have laughed in their face.
Yeah. So even though I don't feel like I'm any closer to staying by myself without being afraid, you still see that as happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I look forward to hearing more new good things happening. I know you have to go any minute. But more changes as you take those baby steps forwards. And those baby steps are going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger as you fit more into the shoe. And little Jenna is going to say, don't leave me behind. Take my hand. I want to come with you.
The thing that came to me when you're saying that is I hear what you're saying about approaching that issue, but there is a part of my personality that just really is, I have a sarcastic side to me.
That's fine.
And it's like I feel like I squelch it when I try to play too nice. You know what I mean? Like when I am censoring myself and censoring.
Sarcasm talks to people. Makes the point. Sarcasm.
Right, and that's why I did it that's the reason I did the post the way I did it. Right. Was because you are out there marching and you're getting sympathy for all these children, and it is horrendous that many children have died by guns since Sandy Hook. It's horrendous.
Right.
But having said that, you're marching for a woman's right to take the life of her own child.
Yeah.
And so
So, as I said, I think that as you grow in yourself with your self-esteem, things are going to start changing. You're going to do it without even thinking about it. You're going to notice to yourself, hey, I'm alone. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be cool.
And I'm fine.
The day I go to my husband, hey, hon, I'm going to walk down to, and he'll be like, wait, what?
So I 100% believe that it's going to happen.
Awesome. Good, good, good. I'm going to hold on to your faith in it right now.
Okay.
Don't forget, if you like this video, leave a like down below, subscribe to my channel, or subscribe to my newsletter. The address is right down below over there. Have a great week.